All right, guys, we're here, starting podcast numero 7.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys are ready. Ian looks great. I feel like he's quality right now.
Quality,
He's on the phone, so just give him a sec. But
quality content right there.
no, it's fine. So we've been playing some stuff. It's been 2 weeks, so we got a little bit more stuff that we've done over the past couple weeks while we took a break. We're gonna be doing a 2 week format now for the rest of the summer, just because there's not as many games that come out over the summer. So, what have you guys been playing? Cause I've been playing, Neverwinter Nights. So let's talk about that a second. That's not new. Even the enhanced version, in theory, is not new. It's been out for a while, a couple months. But we started playing that again. It's pretty fun. Playing various servers or even just campaigns or whatever. We need to play some more campaign. Actually, we haven't played it in a while.
Yeah, I was talking to Tarnus. He wants to do the Undermountain one, so we can probably.
Oh yeah.
Because that's like his fucking boner.
Yep, I have a hard on for Undermountain.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, if you can get the mod, and we could talk about that later, obviously, but if you can get the mod stuff, we could definitely do it. So that'll be cool. And then I've been playing Realm Royale a little bit here and there. That's also pretty fun. I've been having a good time with that. So
it's a fun game.
There's some pretty cool. Unfortunately, we weren't streaming, but there was some really funny stuff with Jiggly and his melee, where he was killing a bunch of people in a tiny room. It was pretty awesome. So
that was hilarious, and it was the same game. I told these guys we played with a 4-man crew, and I was like, we should all just go warrior and all use swords, and you win. You always win with a sword because the damage is good. And they're like, no, we don't. We don't believe you. This is a troll. It's a troll idea. And then I'm literally the last one alive on the team, and I have 6 kills because I'm just using a sword.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun, and it was a pretty funny situation. So. I definitely enjoy the game. I think it's pretty fun. So, what about you guys? What have you been playing, Jiggly?
A little bit of Realm, a little bit of Neverwinter Nights. So a lot of Neverwinter Nights right now. That's pretty. Oh, I got Streets of Rogue on the Steam sale. So
nice.
that was been pretty fun. I want to get some people to play with because it's pretty like funny by yourself, but I'm sure when you have other people fucking shit up, it's like it gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, I either have it in my wish list or I have it already, but I can't remember. So I'll have to
gotcha.
It's one of those ones that I've definitely looked at. But
yeah, and I started another build on Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, I saw you playing that here and there, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Tarnus?
I've been playing Sargrom. That asshole has got me addicted to this new game called Hunt Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
Early access game. Basically, it's I think it's like World War II, not World War II, Wild West, but down in the South. So you got like revolvers, single shot shotguns, things like that. And you're hunting these horrible monstrosities, sort of Dark Souls-esque a little bit, but yeah. But you're bounty hunters trying to kill these, and there's other bounty hunters, and you're trying to kill them as well. You don't have to, but if they get a bounty, you can kill them and steal their bounty and get out. And it's been a lot of fun. And then I've been playing some more Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, which is just making fun of all the Royale games in its own way by making really ridiculous weapons, like a minigun that shoots over walls because it has a periscope.
I know, you were telling us about that the other day. It sounded pretty funny.
I found a little toy cannon with a box of musket balls, and I loaded it, and it's when you fire, it literally just shoots a full cannonball.
That's awesome.
And it's just great. But yeah, I've been playing those pretty much. I've been trying a little bit of Realm Royale because it's free to play. I like that.
Yeah. What's up, so very. Yeah, no, those are cool. I saw a lot of interest in Hunt Showdown a while back, but I never played it or bought it yet. So that's it. It looks interesting. So
originally when it came out, it was super buggy too.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
So
cool. You been doing anything, Ian? Dev?
I played some Deep Rock Galactic for the first time since John finally fucking talked me into it.
Yeah.
Kept bitching about because it was on sale or might still be on sale for summer sale for less than $20. I was like, fuck it, I'll pick it up. Played a couple games. It's pretty alright.
I just picked that one up too. Actually, I haven't played it at all yet. Just bought it.
I had it since its release, but I haven't played it yet either. Me and John were gonna play it, but we haven't ever gotten on at the same time. So that's how it goes. Sometimes.
That's alright.
Yeah. Well, our schedules are really
for the
different.
First time this week.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it because we definitely streamed it on Thursday. So we've been playing Dying Light as well. We started that on Thursday, and we'll be playing it again this Thursday. So I actually had more fun than I thought I was going to with it. I didn't like my first couple of times playing it, but we'll see. We'll see if it lasts.
Yeah, hoping it does. I love that game.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty fun. All right, cool. Well, let's get into the meat of this podcast. We were trying to come up with some different things to do besides covering new games for right now, since it's a little slow. And the first idea I thought would be good is we all went through and got like the top 10 games that made you the gamer you are now. It's kind of what I put in the outline. That's what I put in the outline. And it was actually pretty hard for me, and I'm going to guess for you, I don't know how hard it was for you guys to narrow it down to 10. But, yeah, I got you. But for me, I realized I had to make a limitation. Like, I couldn't, for me, like, my criteria, and it's going to be different for everybody, but my criteria were, like, had to be pre-2000 for me, because I'm an old guy. And, because
How old are you really?
I did have.
I mean,
too old.
I'm 34, or I'll be 34 this year.
Oh, sweet! I am older than you. All right.
Yeah. You're the oldest.
Oh,
I'm second oldest.
Thanks.
But anyways, well, that's okay. I'll give all my friends a hard time. It's funny because a bunch of my friends are just a few months older than me, but I make sure they know they're older. It's I'm the youngest one. It's fine. Anyways, so mine were pre-2000 games. I did put some in my honorable mentions that are post-2000 that did influence me a lot as a gamer, I think. And then I also, because I had a lot of duplicate in genres, I also put down, like, in my main list, the first one I played of that genre, if that makes sense. I will be mentioning other ones that I think may have ended up influencing me more, but just specifically I'm calling out like the ones that I played first, and I was like, oh yeah, this is. And then there's ones that just like drastically changed how I felt about different things, and so I put them in there. So that's kind of like my criteria, and you guys are welcome to also justify or say anything you want about your selections. I'm just telling you that's kind of what I went with. So what about you guys? Any criteria you did, like Jiggly? Did you have any, or did you were like, these are the games and it doesn't matter? You know
what I did is I actually more or less just picked, because the way my brain works, I just picked the first 10 that popped in my head, because I know that those would have been the first 10 that I actually care about, essentially.
Sure.
So you'll know, because I always talk about like at least half the games that are on my list, so you'll be able to tell that they're my favorite, at least for the guys that talk to me more often. For you, the viewers watching, you'll know at least 2 of them, because I use one as a meme all the time, and the other one just happened at E3. So we'll talk about that.
We've been talking about it. Yeah. Tarnus, any specific criteria for you, or?
Honestly, it's the games that I can remember like playing on each one of these systems, or just the games that stuck out so much to me. And mainly, I think I just picked one from each genre.
I tried to do that a little bit as well, although there was some I duplicated.
I mean, the first one is iconic just because of what it is.
Sure, yeah.
But I won't go into details until we actually get there.
Yeah. No, and that's cool. I mean, like especially for me, you know, it was just like you just had to put some limits on it somewhere. That was just me. I do like how you organize yours by date. I appreciate that. Mine is a jumbled mess, so that's cool. That's good. Ian, what about you?
Honestly, I did pretty much the same thing as Jiggler. I was just like, what are the first 10 games that come to my head? Those are probably the 10 that were like changed me or at least affected me. And then I was like, okay, I got 5. And I was like, okay, well, what are the first games that I remember playing?
Yeah.
And I put those 5 on.
And that works too. Like I feel like you guys make a valid point. If you're thinking what games are good games I played in my childhood and those games pop into your head, there's a reason probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It makes sense. And that might be, and I would think that's what I started to do at the beginning, and then I just got a little more technical with it, and I was like, oh, I need to do this so it's not like repetitive. Because I literally probably would have had every Blizzard game on there, and I was like, yeah, I played Warcraft, and then I played Warcraft 2, and then I played Warcraft 3. Ho ho!
I really had to go out of my way to not put like WoW on there. So I was
or whatever.
Was it really WoW, or was it like a game that I played before WoW? And I was like, well, it's definitely a game I played before WoW.
Yeah, and so that's why I was like, you know, like, oh, well, this is my top 10 list. It's Blizzard. Okay, have a nice day. No, but I played a lot of other games I really like, you know, from other people. So let's get into it a little bit. So mostly if we talk about every game for, you know, 5 or 6 minutes, we're gonna be here for like 4 hours. So I'm gonna kind of go over a couple. I have really fast talk points I want to talk about, and then we'll switch to you guys and you can talk about them. You know, feel free to interject, guys, if you have any like comments or questions about anything. You know,
if we have the same one, I imagine we'll just go.
We can talk about that too. Yeah.
Right.
That's fine. So, in any case, on my list, these are in no particular order. The first thing I have is Super Mario RPG. For me, like, I don't know. I guess for me, the thing is that Super Mario RPG is probably the first actual turn-based RPG I'd played, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, in my gaming career. So, a lot of people would think maybe it was a Final Fantasy game or something like that, but when I didn't play Final Fantasy till 7, and then I went back and played the older games. So Fallout, I wasn't a big Fallout fan until
3.
2.
Like
no,
else.
I played 2, I think, but I think if I remember correctly when I was looking it up, that was after Super Mario. So in any case, I have Super Mario RPG. It's really cool. It's probably, like I said, like one of those JRPG type games. It's hard to say JRPG or Western RPG anymore because they borrow from each other so much nowadays. But you know, it's like a turn-based RPG style. You know, everybody selects their move, blah blah blah. So that's why it's on my list. It's actually also a game that I just really remember and loved, and probably wouldn't mind playing again if I could figure out how to do that without tearing my hair out. You know, because I don't have my old systems. So after that, I got Diablo 1. Not, by the way, looking up, it's not the father of ARPGs.
Nope.
I mean, of course, nothing really is when you think about it. Probably like there's always some older game that's like, you know, way before its time or whatever. But Diablo,
popularized it, though.
Yeah. So for PC, and for like the UI layout, like style, isometric style, it's kind of one of the first forefathers type deal. So, I don't know. I played Diablo 1 a lot. It's kind of my first foray into competitive gaming as well. I put professional on here, but there's no such thing back then. Not really. There was ladders and stuff like that, and they were all like professional, quote unquote, like but it was just basically competitive. So we played Iron Man style Diablo 1 where
oh yeah, rough.
Essentially you could not use any of the vendors. You could only use what you found. You could only repair using warrior skill. Like, you could only res if you had a res scroll. Like, you couldn't just go back to town and come back down. Like, that was the style of play we played, and it was really rough. And you probably don't know this because Diablo 1, it's old as fuck, but you couldn't save a multiplayer game, so you literally were like, okay, for our tournament, we're going to play on a Saturday. We start at like 8 in the morning, and we go until we're all dead. Like, we'd play for 24 hours straight, in one session. So those games, but those were really awesome. Like, I have a lot of memories from that. I have memories of like me and my buddy, next door neighbor, who was like our third, because you play with 3 guys. He would die. He'd just be passed out on the bed while we're playing. Then, like, if I'd die, he'd come back in, and we'd res him or whatever. It was kind of like that. It was pretty funny. So I just have a lot of memories. Diablo 1 was also the start of a really great franchise, in my opinion. So it's on my list. Tribes, another game I loved.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Good
game.
We played that game tons. I don't have numbers like we do on Steam anymore, but that game has probably have the most time in of any shooter I've ever played. We also played that very competitively. We were top 10 in tons of different ladders in that game. So that was another one that we really, really, really enjoyed playing. That was probably the highlight of my teen years, to be honest, like gaming, because we played on like a professional or competitive team, whatever you want to call it, and you were practicing every day for like 4 or 5 hour scrimmages, type stuff. It was really fun. I don't, with the way competitive games are these days, I don't wish that on anyone, but that's how it goes, So, hey, what's up, James? Hey, I haven't taken 5 minutes per one. You calm the hell down, you son of a bee. Anyways, Tribes was pretty cool. I really liked it as well. Big one here, which we might get some input from with Jiggly, is Ultima Online.
Yes.
So Ultima Online for me was my first MMO. It was not the first MMO, but it was pretty damn close.
It was, right up there.
I don't know, man. I can't find an MMO today that I like as much as I loved Ultima Online, and that's probably a nostalgia, partially. I mean, that's always how it goes. But at the same time, there's no good skill systems like there were in open skill systems like there were in Ultima. The freedom, the crafting system. I don't know. It just felt like a really good game, and then nobody's ever been able to like recapture that. So it's really good for me. Jiggly obviously played it a lot later back.
Yeah, you introduced it to me probably like a year or two after you started dating my sister, I guess. So, and I don't know how old I would have been then. Like, I don't think I started playing it until probably I was 10 or 11. And by then it was out for 8 years, I think, because it came out in 97.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I loved it. Like, it probably helped the fact that I got to play with you essentially, because like back then, you were like the only person I knew that actually knew like how to game.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends were like just scrubs, quote unquote.
They were all
scrubs. Yeah, so getting to play with you was cool.
They still are.
And I put this game on my list as well as one of my top ones because it's definitely very nostalgic for me. We still get on it occasionally. We'll find a server or something, just hop on and do a little bit on it. It's pretty fun.
For like a day.
I have a for like a night. We like AFK our stats and then we just don't ever play again. I do have a really good memory of back when it was like after like a week or so of me and you playing. We got my dad into it at that point, and
it was the 3D client. It was the 3D client.
Yeah. And man, me and my dad are playing, and we go into a cave. We've never been in it before. David's hooked us up with some pretty decent gear. Some like swords that shoot magic fireballs every time you swing, which is badass. I don't know how that works, but it was cool.
Oh yeah, the magic system in UO, by the way, just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was really badass. Like you had random stats that you would get on magic items, and so like you would collect magic items, and be like, okay, this is my set for like no mana, nothing costs mana. Or this is my set, like, nothing costs reagents, because you needed reagents to cast spells and stuff.
Right.
Or like he said, there'd be like, this casts randomly fireball every time I hit. It was awesome. Anyways, you're in the cave.
Oh yeah, so we're in the cave. Me and my dad are in the cave, and we're spelunking, you know, doing some stuff. And there's no warning about this cave or what's in it. So we come around the corner, and there's this big-ass fucking dragon just staring at us. And me and my dad are like, all right, cool, fuck it. We killed a dragon before. Let's try to kill it. So we just go to town, you know, smacked it a couple times. Next thing I know, my dad dies. And I'm like, oh, shit, all right, cool. So I'm like, I'll just keep fighting him, and then I die. And so we ended up having to text David while he's at work and be like, hey, can you get on and come get us out of this cave so we don't lose all of our shit? And it took David like a solid 30 minutes. He couldn't even really res us. He basically just had to distract the dragon long enough for us to get to our bodies, for us to get out. And it was rough. It was, I mean, it was like a solid like hour and a half of us just like watching David try to get this dragon. It was hilarious though. That's like a highlight of my life, of my gaming life.
Yeah. I think it was like a champion spawn or something. But
it was so ridiculous.
Anyways, it's a fun game. I don't know. It's just talking about it makes me want to play it some more. But we'll
I'm sure like everything on the
digress.
Our list is gonna be like that.
Like next week we'll be like, I played Ultra Online and Tribes and Diablo 1. No, I'm just joking, but still. The next game on my list is actually probably on. I think Jiggly has it on his list, but it's a different version.
Yeah,
The one I have is the oldest version. It's called Stronghold, which a lot of people might recognize the name, but it is not the Stronghold you're probably thinking about. It was made by SSI, which made a lot of the gold box games back in the 80s and 90s. And you had like races like dwarves and elves, and then like classes, magic user, cleric, all that kind of stuff, like D&D. But it was a RTS, and I have it on my list because it's technically the first RTS I played. But I will say that Warcraft and StarCraft were probably more influential for me in the RTS genre. But I did want to give a little shout out to the first Stronghold, because it was a game that influenced, it was the first time I played RTS, and it got me into the RTS genre. So I just wanted to give a shout out. I really liked the game. I remember it so well. We played so many hours of that game, but it's just that's on my list. Stronghold, pretty awesome. Old school RTS. Like, it doesn't even look like RTS when you look at the screenshots.
It does not. No.
it's like a like the top down part is up in the upper right, Jiggly, and like you had to click on the map up there to go to the different parts and like build stuff. And
that's rough. That looks really rough.
Yeah, it was still really fun.
What mine is, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. So, anyways, that's on my list. It was my first RTS experience, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So there's that one. After that, Half-Life, which I thought somebody else might have on their list, but I don't think anyone else does.
I never played it. Yeah, I never played it.
I really.
Played it, but it just didn't matter.
You're like, fuck it. I hated it.
I like this game
because every time I played it, I just like somehow glitched to the floor to a point where I was just annoyed with it, and I didn't know about crouch jumping whenever I played it as a kid.
Gotcha.
So I never got past like
couldn't get certain places. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Half-Life is kind of special to me. A lot of people consider it
to be like the best.
Well, to be a really good FPS, it's kind of like kick-started the launch of like story-based FPS. Like before that, you had stuff like Doom and stuff like that, which were cool. And technically there's a story, right? But, like, it was just a shooter, and you just went level to level. Whereas, like, Half-Life, there were loading screens, but level to level made sense. Like, you were going in the same building, you were just, like, going through a door to go to a new area or whatever. So, like, it was, like, I don't know. It felt a lot more story driven, which it obviously was. And then like there were no cutscenes. Everything was told through like your point of view, your perspective. It was just pretty cool. I don't know. I really like that game, and I don't know when Half-Life 3 is coming out, but it needs to hurry up so I can play it. We're still speculating. Maybe E3 next year. After that, I got Legend of Zelda, which is probably the oldest game on my list. That's 86 for Legend of Zelda. It's the first RPG, in my opinion, that I've played. If you want to consider Legend of Zelda like an RPG, does that sound good to you guys? What do you guys think?
I don't know why you wouldn't. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. Like some people consider RPG to be like where you can like level and like have like some, you know, character customization, whereas Zelda is more just like a adventure, you know, type style game. But anyways,
that's fair. Yeah.
You know, still, I really enjoyed it. It was a good game.
You disconnected for a split second. Your stream is down.
Is it?
I mean, on my screen, we'll see. Oh, it's back up. We're good.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's on my list. Also, probably it's hard for me to remember if I played something earlier than that Legend of Zelda, but probably the first game I played. If not, really close. Like maybe I played some Atari shit, but I never had an Atari, so I don't think so. But who knows? There could have been something else, but it's like the first game I definitely played like in my house probably. Any arcade stuff, I didn't count, you know. After Legend of Zelda for me was the Gold Box games. So a lot of people may not know what those are, but they were from a company like I was talking about earlier, SSI. And the Gold Box games were actually like all the old school dungeon crawling, like D&D style games, you know, like where you had 4 people in your party, and like let me see if I can get a good like here's character generation, like you rolled your stats up and all that. It was based off actual pen and paper D&D. So you had like dwarves and fighters and stuff like that. So it was really cool. I put it on my list because first of all, it's probably the first thing that introduced me to D&D besides actual pen and paper. You know, when I played it when I was, you know, 5 years old or whatever. And so it was really cool to me, and it helped me kind of get into D&D in general, just because, you know, as a 5-year-old, it was probably pretty hard to concept to do actual pen and paper D&D, you know. So just playing the video game was, you know, blowing my mind, and having different classes and spells cast and blah blah blah. So that whole series for me is kind of in the list. Pool of Radiance, Eye of the Beholder, stuff like that was really really fun. And they've recently made some like remakes, not of these particularly, but there's a couple of games that have come out that have kind of mimicked the genre, so it's pretty cool to go back and look at those games, you know. The next game on my list after that is Doom. We kind of mentioned it earlier when I was talking about Half-Life. Doom, Hexen, Heretic, which were all made by id. All those games were influential for me as first-person shooters. Probably some of the first first-person shooters that I really enjoyed. All of those also on PC, obviously. So that probably got me started in all that PC stuff, you know. So you know, yeah. I mean, Doom for me, man, it's just like one of those games I played, and it leads into one of my honorable mentions, which is Quake. Quake 3 Arena, which I spent countless hours on. No Judge Dredd for me. No. Thanks, though. Thanks. You know, Quake 3 Arena was probably one of my big favorites as well. But just wanted to put Doom on there as kind of the forefather of that, you know, to kind of bring that up. And then last on my list of 10 is Heroes of Might and Magic. Actually, in particular, 3 for me. And that was, to be honest, in large part, when I was at my mom's house, I have 2 half brothers. When I was at my mom's house, we only had 1 computer. And so, in large part, this was on my list because we used to play it, and it had what's called couch co-op. Here's some like sweet video. Let's look at those graphics from like, when was that? That was in '99. That's not too bad. That's not. I guess that's how many years now? Almost 20 years. Okay, it's 20. It's close. Anyways, we played this. They had co-op, which was round robin style. So you take your turn, do all your stuff. Then it would be like it would let the next person play. So, I mean, there was a lot of games you could probably play that way, but this actually had that style, and it was really cool. We would just play this game for hours, like when I went to my mom's house because we only had 1 computer. And so that just like it's there. There's nothing crazy about it. Like the first and second one were the same style game, but the number 3 in particular stands out to me just because of nostalgia, really, and having a good time with my brothers. So that's my number 10. Honorable mentions, which may be mentioned later: Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate 2, World of Warcraft, all good. Final Fantasy 7 got me into Final Fantasy series. Yeah. Super Mario Brothers 3 was one of my favorites in the NES, SNES type. I mean, I did like World. I think World's probably really my favorite, but in any case, Pokemon was a big one for me. And then I mentioned StarCraft and Warcraft. Those are all like my honorable mentions. So those were kind of ones that I wanted to put in the list, or I had in the list and I swapped them for other ones because I thought they were better, type things. So that's me. So just top 10 for me real quick without talking about them all. Super Mario RPG, no particular order. Diablo, Star Siege Tribes, Ultima Online, Stronghold, Half-Life, Legend of Zelda, Gold Box Games by SSI, Doom, Heroes of Might and Magic. Those are my top 10. So that's me. A lot of them influence what games I really like these days. So I'm very particular. Actually, these days I almost exclusively play co-op games, but if I can get a single player game, for sale, I'll buy it and then hopefully eventually play it. Who knows? But that's my games. So
nice.
I'll switch it over to Jiggly. I think he's up next, and he's got his list.
So we talked about. I think we talked about 2 of them that's on my list. So I'll just say them and then.
Well, one of them I didn't really talk about. It's just in my honorable.
That's fair. Well, okay. Well, number 1 is, and there's no particular. These are just the first 10 that popped in my head, so they're not exactly in order of what I would say is most important in my life, but or gaming life. So let's say Ultima Online. We already talked about that one, so we'll just kind of breeze through it. It was really cool. David showed it to me when I was really young. Private servers were awesome. And then I actually spent most of my time either dying and asking my dad or David to get me, or trying to build a fucking roof for my house, because that goddamn game has the worst building mechanics. It's like
or the best,
sure. But that roof, man, I could never get it to close.
Because you could build houses basically from ground up. You get like a plot of land, and then you could just build the house however you wanted. Like it had all the walls. You'd pick what walls you wanted, where you wanted them in the house. It was pretty cool. So
yeah, it was fun. It's just stupid roof. Next on my list is Kingdom Hearts, which most of you know is my favorite game of all time. It always will be. Always will be. I'm sure something eventually. Kingdom Hearts 3 may take the plate, but we'll see. But yeah, OG Kingdom Hearts came out in 2002. I was 7 when it came out. It's my favorite game of all time. I found it at a friend's birthday party. He was having a birthday party. He was the only one of us that had a PS2. Most of the other kids waited to get GameCubes. And then he had a PS2 and I had a PS2. And then he was like, I hate this game. It's so stupid. And I was like, what? And so I loaded it up, and he said the first island was really boring, which it is. But if you can get past that part, the game is really badass. And so I played it at his birthday party for like an hour and got out of the island and finally got into like the actual world and like what all you actually do. And he was like watching me. He was like, dude, I never knew this game was this good. And I was like, yeah, man, you gotta give it a shot. So then I went and bought it and played the shit out of it. Yeah, that was great.
So just to point out, 2002, he was 7. I graduated the next year. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how long I've known David. Because you started at my sister her freshman year? So
no,
your sophomore
it
year?
was towards the end of school.
Oh, was it? Okay. Okay, so next is Neverwinter Nights, which we kind of talked about briefly. It was his honorable mention, but we've been playing it recently a lot.
The new
David
enhanced,
yeah, the new enhanced edition we're starting to play now. David showed me this also around the same time as Ultima Online, probably a year after, because I think he was mostly playing Ultima, and then we switched to Neverwinter once we got the private server stuff. I think your dad had the private server, right?
We played on rich terms for Neverwinter, which was actually another guy, but Dad hosted all the servers.
Gotcha.
And then he made his own Revenge, which is hard as fuck because Dad likes hard as fuck
stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid hard. Like there's not even fun. Like 2 people played it, him and then him. So that was great. Thousands of hours across the franchise. I've got on Steam. It says I'm almost up to 2,000 on the Neverwinter Nights 2, and then I didn't own Neverwinter Nights 1 on Steam back in the day because Steam didn't exist. But I probably have equivalent of that many on the first one as well. That one's really nostalgic for me. We also had Indefinite playing with us way back in the day. His dad played with us a little bit here and there, so it was kind of cool to be able to play with all the people I know in their life. That's also what introduced me to D&D. That and then watching David when I was super young, having like D&D parties at his house or whatever. Like they'd be game days essentially. Tarnish just fucking DC'd.
I noticed.
He's gone. Oh, and he's back.
There we go.
So watching them play that plus playing this really got me into D&D as a gamer. So that was kind of cool. And now the cameras are fucked.
They're only fucked for that second. They're
okay. There we go. Yeah. So next on my list is Toontown. Oh yeah, baby, Toontown Online. Let's go.
We had to have one guy on this fucking podcast. One guy that just ruins it for everyone.
That's right.
And mentions shit like Toontown. But go ahead.
Bringing the big guns, boys.
I could have brought out Club Penguin.
No, stretch your whore mouth.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about that. Don't worry.
Oh boy.
So Toontown Online came out in 2003. You guys probably saw the commercials because they aired them on TV. You know, Are You Toon Enough with the little kids throwing pies at the guys dressed up as cogs, which is weird. This game was my bitch growing up, is what I wrote. So I'm gonna say that because it was. My whole neighborhood played it. That's actually how I found it. Is one of my neighbor kids was playing it one day, and I was like, "What are you playing?" And he's like, "Oh, it's called Toontown." And so he let me play it for a little bit, and I was like, "This is pretty cool." So I went and got it, and I quickly outleveled everybody in the neighborhood because I no-lifed it for a while. And everybody, like, anytime anybody wanted to play, they would, like, call my house phone, and I'd answer it. And they'd be like, "Hey, we need your help. Go to do this thing on Toontown." And I'd just get on and help them out real quick. It was kind of cool.
He was a hero. He was a hero in that Toontown.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Still is a Toontown.
I still play Toontown. I am guilty. When it went down, I was very sad. They allocated all the resources to Club Penguin, which was the stupidest fucking move.
But it also went down. Club Penguin
it also went down.
Too.
Yeah, it went down in a blazing glory. I think if they had actually done the opposite, Toontown would have been pretty cool. There were rumors of them making a Toontown 2 with like better graphics and like different style of play, but that obviously never happened.
It's called Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
Basically. So yeah, that's my number 4. And I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Toontown, just because it was pretty badass growing up for myself.
The only reason why I let you talk about it is because, I mean, it is a defining game for you. But
it is.
I would have just muted this part of the stream the whole time.
On a normal day. I mean, we still got one more you hate, so we'll get there eventually. Me and Ian are gonna talk about that one.
Oh God. Yeah. All right.
Next is I'll go ahead and get it out of the way. The next one I'll do is Maple Story. I know Daviji.
But I played it at least. Okay.
Yeah. So you're in it. You're
nearly as long as.
You're part of. We kind of.
No, I'm just saying. At least I played it, so I'm okay with you talking about it.
Right. So Maple Story was released in 2003 for the U.S. It came out in I think 2001 for Korea or something like that. I didn't look that part up.
Yeah.
It was originally a Korean game, and then it technically is a Korean game. But yeah, I got to play on the Korean servers for a few months. A kid at my school played it, and he was Oriental of sorts, and so Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. He would literally just tell me what to click. And he was like, all right, use this skill, use this skill, use this skill. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yep, that's it. That's all you do. Those 3 buttons. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Then they released it. Huh?
No, that was MapleStory.
Yep. And then they released it in the US. And it was somehow harder for me to do on the US servers. I guess because the Korean one was more advanced.
The Korean was a further patch. When they released it to the US, it was an older patch, which made the XP race lower.
It was fucking trash, is what it was.
It was the best.
The game was super hard. You never had money to buy potions, so you would just be consistently dying the whole time. It took you like a solid week just to get to level 30, which now takes you like a legit 5 minutes for some classes.
Hey man.
Back then, Pyro had an account, and I was playing it, and he was like, "Oh, I used to play that." And I was like, "Cool, what's your account?" And he logged in, and he was like, "Yeah, I had this Ice Lightning Mage," and I was like, "Oh, sweet, can I play it?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And he had 100K on his character, and I like bowed down to him because that was like ungodly amounts of money to me back
Those
in
were
the day.
Steelies, boy.
Yeah,
back
man,
in the day, baby.
That was crazy. So I played his account, and it was badass because I could actually afford potions and not die every 5 minutes. So that was cool. And and David never touched it ever again. So
I wasn't playing it for a reason, but it's fine.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. It's fine. I get it. Number 5, I'm gonna backtrack one because I skipped it for MapleStory. The Call of Duty franchise. So this is the first thing I kind of played as an FPS. After Halo. Technically, Halo was my first FPS. But the Call of Duty franchise for console gaming, first FPS I played. And I actually, it got me into pro gaming. I was a professional Call of Duty player for 4 years, I think. Made some all right money doing it. Not a whole lot, not a whole little at least. But it was cool. Made me fall in love with the franchise. FPS gaming is kind of my shtick. I'm generally pretty good at them. Generally, there are times that I'm not. It makes me sad because I should be better. But, it happens. So yeah, I played that up until they started introducing the exosuit bullshit. I thought that was lame, and climbing on walls is weird and also extremely hard to shoot at. So I basically just, turned myself into a casual and was like, no, I'm not gonna play this weird shit over here. So Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2, I think, were the last 2 I played professionally, and yeah, that was fun. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and that was right before Pyro got me into PC gaming. Once I quit professional FPS gaming, I basically just did a hard switch over to PC gaming, which is when League of Legends came out, which isn't on here, but it probably should have been. I didn't think of it, to be honest. That was one of the first things I played on PC, aside from RuneScape. RuneScape was the first thing I played on PC. That and Ultima Online. So I mean, I'm talking like, oh, rough. All right.
Hey, so speaking of casual gaming, by the way, add me on Pokemon, guys.
Get the fuck out of here. If I could control your stream right now, I'd have muted your ass. God damn it. All right. Well, speaking of Pokemon, that's next on my list. Pokemon for my generation is like the fucking base point of most gaming for most people. Just because, one, it was super easy to do because it was on, Game Boys and stuff like that. And then it was just really fun. Everybody did it. You battled each other. Everybody had a Game Boy. Like, everybody had a Game Boy because they were pretty cheap for a gaming system back in the day compared to, like, PS2s and PlayStation 1s and stuff like that. And they were mobile, which was, like, fantastic. And that was, like, the new thing was mobile gaming, and Game Boy Color, and that kind of stuff. So
AA batteries falling out because you break the fucking back of them.
Yeah. Duct tape coming around.
Scotch tape, boy.
That just sucked the life out of every single
It took 6 AA batteries, that Game Gear. But it was backlit before the Game Boys were. I had one. But, man, they're it was color. But yeah, it ate batteries like a motherfucker.
It ate a lot of batteries. Yeah, it was rough. Your parents were like, "What the fuck? Rechargeables?" Oh man, that's when rechargeables became big, and they sucked.
They did.
I started with the blue, yellow, and red because my sisters had it, and they didn't really play it much. They got them but didn't play them, so I was like, "Fuck it, give it here. I'll play it." But I will say my favorite of all the installments before like the 3DS stuff started coming out was definitely Silver. Silver and Gold. Silver was the first one I probably fully beat, to be honest. And me and my dad spent more hours on that game than I did for sure. But I definitely played it a lot and took it everywhere with me. And I was sad when it got stolen.
Your dad is one of those guys who does this with pretty much anything. He'll just like get obsessed with it and just like
he has a very addictive personality.
He'll grind the shit out of it. So any games that he did play with Brian, he would be like, "Yeah, I got like 50 million gold and all my skills are 100 or whatever." Because he just like
when he played Ultima, and David showed him like how to actually raise your skills, he literally maxed everything he was going to use within like a couple days because. Yeah. My dad's the kind of guy where, because he's self-employed, so he can kind of get away with it. He would literally not sleep for 3 days straight and just sit there and game, and then game at night, work in the day, but also game during the day because he could get away with it. So it was interesting. It was interesting. He did it with RuneScape, which is next on my list. Sure, yeah, we can talk about it right now since I'm segueing. Old school RuneScape is what it's called now, but back when it was just RuneScape. After RuneScape Classic, because I played Classic, but I didn't actually play Classic. I logged into it and was like, this is dumb. RuneScape came out in 2001 after RuneScape Classic was out for a couple of years. RuneScape, I got into it because a kid at school, like everything else in my list pretty much, a kid at my school, his mom was a teacher, and I was in after school, I was just hanging out in the classroom with him, and we had computers because we were at a private school and, fancy. They had 2 computers in the back, and so he loaded it up. It wasn't blocked on the internet yet. He loaded it up and showed it to me, and I was like, "This is badass." So I started playing that with him. Ended up getting my entire family to play it. My mom played it, my dad played it, my aunt played it, my cousin-in-law, my other cousin, my uncle, like everybody fucking in my family played this game. It was kind of cool. It was also kind of weird. But of the family, my dad and my aunt were definitely the superior races of this game because, of course, like we just said, my dad would know life stuff. So, he started when I was like level 50 combat with like a solid, a couple 60s here and there for skilling. By like the end of the month, he had 99 mining, just straight up 99 mining, and then he also had like 70 combat, and he had like fuck ton of gold. Like it was crazy. Like all the kids worshipped my dad at this point because they're like, "Oh man, we need some food to go training." But I was like, "Here, have 1K lobs," because he had like 40K lobsters from fishing. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. What I have written down here. I still play it to this day, off and on. So it's kind of cool. Old school RuneScape's. It'll always be somewhere in my heart. As long as it's up, I'll probably still play it occasionally just to log in and see the new stuff that they put in. And yeah, going backwards now.
I played RuneScape as well, but no.
I originally had it on my list and then took it off.
Interesting.
Something else.
Yeah, most gamers have played RuneScape. Like it's one of those games that like.
I mean, anything pretty much free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like truly free, to be honest. Like
maybe an hour of my life I've played it, but that's about it.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's at least like tried it. I feel because it was really big in 2001, 2003. So, yeah, Stronghold franchise. We're gonna go backwards now. Stronghold franchise. Now, David's talking about Stronghold RTS or whatever you call RTS.
Still RTS. Yours is RTS as well.
I know mine's different.
I'm gonna video your Stronghold so they know.
Yeah, so they can see the difference. I didn't try to grab a good video of it, to be honest.
Fine. I'll just grab it real quick.
So the original Stronghold came out in 2001. There's a huge franchise of it. The last one that came out, I think, came out in 2014. They're about to release another one here soon, hopefully. It's an RTS, but it's like a traditional style one, like anything else really. Like you have a castle that you spawn with.
It looks closer to Age of Empires style.
Yeah, Age of Empires-esque. Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool. The reason that me and my friends played this one instead of Age of Empires, because we did play Age of Empires, we like this one more because the like troop units were so like different across the board depending on who you were. All the troop units were different. And we honestly we like the building aspect of it better because you had a lot of verticality. You could build a lot of vertical buildings and units with it. I don't know. We just liked it more. We don't know why. We just did.
No, that's cool.
We straight up spent an entire spring break just nonstop. Barely slept. Like just played this game both on and offline. And we just did that for a week straight.
You and Woody?
Yeah, me and Woody. Yep.
Yeah.
It was great. And we our favorite strategy, so there'd be 3 of us. Our favorite strategies, one of them loved building trebuchets, so that's all he would build. I would only build knights, and then Woody would just kind of do his own, mostly archers because he loved archers. And then what he would do is I would move my knights. Woody would protect all 3 castles with all of his archers. He would just move them all over if we were getting sieged. And then Twiggy would set up all of his trebuchets against one, like literally 50 to 100 trebuchets, and it would be so bad that every time they shot, the game would freeze for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And the only time it's not frozen is when they're literally about to do the next volley because they've just finished reloading. It was so ridiculous.
I remember I was at your house whenever you guys were playing one time, and then like I was watching you play, and I watched the game just stop. You're like, oh, I guess he fired his trebuchets.
Yeah, you don't even look at it. You don't even have to look at him doing it. You'll just be like doing your own thing in your castle, and all of a sudden the game just freezes, and you're like, Twiggy, and he's like, he just starts laughing. That's it. That's like he just starts laughing.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, that's me.
You were going through a menu. I remember one time you were going through a menu trying to like find something to build like some sort of wall or some shit, and then all of a sudden the game just stopped, and you're like,
yep, that's exactly what it was. To be fair, the game wasn't optimized. Like, if you had more than 20 trebuchets, the game would freeze. So it wasn't that big of a deal.
That wasn't unique to Stronghold, though. The RTSs of that time, like, were constantly hanging up. Like, if you play, like, any unlimited resource maps in StarCraft where you, turtled and just built up all your units and played versus, like, 8 PCs, you weren't finishing the game. It was going to crash at some point because it was just so laggy. Yeah, so there was tons of games, tons of RTSs back then. Resource management on your PC wasn't so good. But that is a cool story. Just like every time he shot, it's just freezing. Like,
and it's funny because it's frozen, so you're stuck there. And if you're looking at what he's shooting at, when it unfreezes, it's just gone. There's fucking nothing there. It's just.
It's already calculated the damage.
It's done. It's gone. Oh,
That's
man. Next and final thing on my list is Halo. The original Halo came out in 2001 for Xbox. Definitely a game changer when it was released. It made Xbox kind of like the superior console because it had the superior shooter, essentially. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Everybody had it. Like, all my friends got Xboxes, and I'm just stuck here with a PS2. So I was kind of salty about that shit. Xbox, I think, was also technically you could go online with PS2, but Xbox made it easy to play online. PS2, you had to like get an adapter, then you had to like plug it in. It was weird. It was just a weird time. Not all games could do it, so interesting.
Yep.
And didn't own it, but
I agree with your Halo thing. I mean, Halo was a make or break game for Microsoft, and it worked out.
And it worked out really well.
Really good, really good franchise for them.
It was the flagship game.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and they did a really good job with the campaign and how it worked. You can only have if you played all on one TV, you could have up to 4 people, and I don't think many games got to do that that early on. Mostly because nothing really had 4-player support, because PS2's only had 2-port, and GameCube did.
So just to age myself a little bit.
Oh God.
We're gonna talk about older consoles that did have lots of 4 players.
No, sure. Yeah.
No, I'm actually talking about Halo.
Okay, go for it.
I actually started college when Halo came out.
Yep.
Correct.
And we actually plugged all the Xboxes into the network. At the college, and we just turned it into
a
Xbox
LANs.
Party.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the best. Like, and everyone would have, like, every dorm had its own like or 2W Carlson and the gamer tag.
Yeah.
Like every floor was.
And it'd be 4 people, all with their 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
No, everyone had their own Xbox. So
I gotcha.
Those guys on the team, and then these guys on the team, and
Then no screen cheating. That's the nice thing about that one.
Oh, I absolutely loved that. And that's why I didn't do good in college.
I'll tell you my one Halo story that is kind of like that, and that is, we were just out of high school, so it was a couple years after Halo, so it may have been Halo 2. We took our Xbox. Jason was dating kind of a stripper, and we took our Xbox to the strip club and played it at the strip club because it was like one of those strip clubs that were kind of like really shitty, and like nobody was there, so it was just like us and the strippers, and we were just playing Halo. That's how nerdy it was. We're playing Halo at a strip club. That's my Halo.
Booty's popping everywhere, and you're just like, nope, got my aliens to slaughter. Be right back.
So Dave, I used to DJ at a strip club.
There you go.
While I was in college.
Yeah.
That money actually got me the laptop screen for an Xbox.
Oh yeah, so you can do it remote. I mean, anywhere.
So you could literally just bring it around like a giant fucking bulky laptop.
Sure, yeah,
just play it. You're like, and here's candy. Press play. Just playing on Legendary.
Yeah. Anyways, it's funny.
I'll say the last thing on my list, and then I'm done. We can go over to Tarnus. The first thing that probably got me into gaming, quote unquote, was this thing that my dad had, and like most of you don't. No one here really knows my dad except for Pyro. Ian's met him a couple times, but my dad like grew up super poor, so he didn't really have much. And he didn't have much like to pass down to me as a kid because he came from a different state and didn't have anything when he moved here and stuff like that. So one thing I had growing up was this old school. It was like the Donkey Kong arcade. It was a big blue thing with Donkey Kong on top, and it has the joystick and the 2 buttons, or 1 button I think that you had. So my dad had a mini version of that ran off of 4 double D batteries. He didn't have the panel on it, so that good old duct tape. But it was on the bottom, like the battery's on the bottom. So that was the first thing I ever got to actually like game on, quote unquote. And that thing was like my favorite thing. I carried it everywhere with me until I got like an actual Game Boy. Like it was my mobile game, and it was cool. It was like no bigger than like this Witch Cup, but it was pretty badass. So that's like the first thing that I probably gamed on, to be honest, and that is probably what got me into gaming. So that's why I wanted to highlight. That's my honorable mention.
Sweet.
And then Tarnus, it's all you, man. Let's go down your list.
It was a good list. So
we'll just start off with back in my day.
Like, since we're gonna talk about this,
I have probably, was it 4 before the 90s, and then just everything's before 2000, like Dave here. The first one that got me hooked, of course, was the thing you play in elementary school, that good old-fashioned Oregon Trail.
Look at them graphics, baby.
You didn't have to be the doctor to get the most money just to run it. But yeah, just back in the day, I would just always play that at school whenever I could find the chance. I'd try to sneak onto the old Apple II. Put in that ginormous floppy disk about yay big, and then just start booting it up. Yeah, it was just a good old game.
Yeah, I used to play it too, so I didn't remember it. I don't know. I'm sure it was like in schools even when these younger guys were in, because schools don't update their shit. But
the only difference is it was downloaded.
Ooh, damn. Yeah, so
that whole 1 megabyte.
But yeah, I remember this game too, Tarnus. Like, I'm glad you put it on your list, because it is probably one of the first games.
Thank you. Fucking number munchers.
Yeah.
Like, eat only the prime numbers. Yes.
Yeah, those old games. And there's some game, I still to this day do not know the name of it, Tarnus, but we played it in elementary, and the fucking guy says Nito Burrito, and I say it still to this day. And I played it in like super elementary, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't know what it's called, but
everybody says it probably because of that game. To be
Nito
honest. That's probably
Burrito.
What started it.
Okay,
yeah, that's probably what started that shit.
And I can't find it. So, anyways, this is all those games in elementary school. But I'll let you get back on your deal. It's just like it's funny that you brought it up. It's just like there were so many games like that.
All right, and then my second one on my list was the old Sega Master System.
Oh boy!
Now I didn't have a Nintendo at this time, but my next door neighbors, who are also my cousins, they had the Sega Master System, and we would play Rambo and Shinobi.
Yeah.
And oh god, some Cloud Warrior game. But yeah, this Rambo game was probably by far my most favorite game that I would just constantly play. You would just slowly scroll up as Rambo, try to rescue the POWs from the camp. I know it's pretty dark for a kid's game, but yeah. I would every single time I would go get done from elementary school, I'd just go over to my cousin's house and just play Rambo.
Yep.
And you could actually play it 2-player, which is probably the best thing. You would be like, it would be at the same time. Like, both of us would be on the side trying to save everyone.
That was the start of your co-op gaming career, Tarnus.
Yes, that was my co-op gaming career. All right, and then my dad finally got me a Nintendo Entertainment System. And I played the originals, the original Dragon Warrior 1, Dragon Warrior 2, but the one that stuck was just the Dragon Warrior 3. I think by far that is the game I put most of my entire time in, even more so than Civilization 5.
Jesus.
Just because I love, all 2,000 hours. I just love that game so much. I actually broke the first. I don't know how I broke the cartridge, but it just stopped working. I had to buy another one.
Sucks.
This was the introduction to the first turn-based RPG for me. You would have a party of 1 to 4 heroes of various classes, and you could cast spells and attack them. And yeah, it was my bread and butter for RPGs. I would just constantly go back to that game.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see the older school stuff like this. I never played Dragon Warrior, but it looks very similar to some of the older RPGs that are out there.
Now, Dragon Warrior became Dragon Quest, which is still
super
today
popular. Yeah.
So a lot of these monsters are now cartoonified more in the Dragon Quest series.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And then,
which I hate, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they fucked me on Steam.
Oh yeah, that port was not good, man. But continue. Well, we can talk about that later.
All right. And then I moved on, and I finally got a PC.
I do want to talk about this one with you at some point. Just go ahead, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Fuck. Oh, anyway, go ahead.
Secret of Monkey Island. Secret of Monkey Island was one of my first point-and-click adventures, I think they're called.
Yeah, point-and-click, yeah.
Where you would have, like, the options to give, open, use, pick up, push, pull, talk to, and you would pick up these items and slowly move to complete certain tasks. And, I mean, what was it? I think a few of the first ones were, like, Loom for me. I played Loom. Then Secret of Monkey Island, Secret of Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Sam and Max Hit the Road. Just
those are classics, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think all of them were by LucasArts.
The thing I want to point out about Monkey Island, when you put this up, I immediately remembered this when I played this game, is the sword fighting. When you sword fight, you would basically, it was like who could taunt the other guy the best. It was like insulting them like while you're sword fighting, and that's how you would win. It was awesome. I remember that. That was probably my favorite part of the game. It was just like you're insulting the other guy.
I wish I actually picked that part of the game, but yeah, the sword fighting was amazing.
Yeah.
And then of course you would.
Here's some of it right here, Turnus.
On cheating. They would call you out on cheating if you started using the Sword Master's taunts.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, I put it in there so you could see. It's funny.
Like I once owned a dog that was smarter than you. Yeah, just like some of. And if you didn't have the comeback, you would actually have to find another pirate to fight. You would use that against them because you had heard that one, and then some of them would give you the actual comeback. So it would be a taunt retort, and just keeping back and forth with that game. So
yeah, and as you learn more, it's kind of like almost like leveling up because you'd learn more insults, so then you could counter other pirates that were better at insulting, etc., etc. So it was a unique way to sword fight, obviously. So that's just like one of the things I remember is that sword fight.
Yeah, the point and click adventures, Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle, all those games.
I've seen enough hentai to know where that's going.
And what was it? Oh, of course, there was actually Indiana Jones and the Lost City of Atlantis. That was another one of them.
All the Indiana Jones ones were pretty good, yeah.
Well, yeah, those were all. That was basically the starter for me for point and click adventure, and then I went to my first strategy game, Dune 2. Dune 2 was a turn-based strategy game based in the Dune, lore. You could play as the Atreides, the Harkonnen, or I'm trying to remember the third one.
I was looking up the Dune series when you put this because I remember it, but I thought it was a point and click like Monkey Island.
No, it was top down, like almost Command and Conquer, or God, the other game that comes to my mind is Mechanized Assault and Exploration. Again, it was a turn-based strategy game, and go if you just zoom in, or yep. So it would basically be top down. You would be able to build units. Starting out with infantry, you get trikes, quads. We would harvest spice to get credits to build bigger and better units, things like that, and attack enemy bases. While trying not to stay on the sand for too long because worms.
Worms, yeah, sandworms.
Like you're probably seeing right now, the sandworms about to eat your harvester, things like that. But yeah, again, that just started me off with. Again, playing this game, then I played Max, and then eventually went into Warcraft, StarCraft, all those games. And then what was it? My next one was sort of a step up or a step down from turn-based or point-and-click adventures. It's sort of the same thing, but not. It was Myst. Myst. How can you even describe Myst? Myst was like living sort of in a picture, but was also sort of like a movie at the same time. Like
it was kind of one of those first like movie interactive. I mean, there was a lot of problem solving in it, like clues and mysteries. It was pretty good. I like that you put it on your list as well. That was a good pick. For me personally, it came out in '93. I probably didn't beat it till like 2000, and I didn't actually beat that game.
Well, it depends. Okay, what do you consider beating the game? Because
there's
3 fucking endings.
Depending on the ending, yeah, because you could destroy the red book, destroy the blue book, stuff like that.
Or find the white book.
Right So whatever. Spoilers, guys. Sorry.
The white book. I ruined it all for you. But yeah, it would just literally be a picture, like a picture, and you would click a button and it would sort of bring you to the next scene, things like that. I really like that game. I played that a lot, and I think I beat it like 20 years later. So.
Right, yeah. It was one of those games where, like, as a kid, like when we were younger, because 93, I guess I was 9. I played it, and then, you're like a little kid. You're like, fuck this game. Like, this game is really hard.
No, but until you learn something new, it's like, did you click it on this? I'm like, what? No. And then you got to go back, and it's like you click that one thing. It's like, oh my God, it does something new.
Yeah. And so it was a very, very difficult game for puzzle solving, but it was really good. Like Tarna said, you beat it like 5 years later when you're like, oh, maybe I should actually try these other things.
Yeah. I would say this is the next one is my first flying game, but it's not really flying. It's
not exactly
my
a flying
game was Secret of the Luftwaffe.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, that was an old game. But Secret of the I'm sidetracking here. Secret of the Luftwaffe has better hit detection than most games even out right now,
today.
which is pretty sad. It's like, what, you're hitting the prop, it actually knocks the prop off. You're hitting the engine starts on fire. You hit the wing, you actually burn off the wing. You hit the rudder stops working. It was good. But this Descent, it's like almost like a first-person shooter, but you are a flying spaceship that just runs around. You're actually like a miner or something. I can't remember the whole story, but you're trying to shoot either aliens or aggressive miners that are trying to shut down this building. I don't remember. The reason why I played this a lot was I think this was middle school. Yeah, this was middle school at the time when I was playing this. We had school dances, and you would have to pay to go to the school dance. But I got in good with the computer lab teacher, and we burned all these CDs to put these games on the computer lab. And we would play this in multiplayer, and it was just a blast.
So, fucking nerd. Go to school dance and play video games. Gad. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't pay to go to the school dance. I'd go to the computer lab, grab like 10 other guys, and we'll just play. Was it the original Warcraft and then this game?
Yeah, I got you.
And then turn-based strategy game. Not like the building, but it's XCOM. I mean, it's XCOM. This game tormented my soul as a child.
It's such a good series.
No, I mean, I think that if I remember, I mean, this game did not have patches. Like a game has patches now. I swear there was a bug that if you chose easy, it made it on the hardest difficulty.
You're like, there's no easy. It's only hard.
Yeah. You would just get out of the spaceship, and next thing you know, 3 of your guys just die immediately. It's like you just got so pissed at this game, and you would put it down, you'd throw it away, you'd play something else, and then like, no, I have to beat that level, blah blah blah. And of course, that's what. And then people started playing the Iron Man mode, which you couldn't save scrub. It just.
Because what else can you do whenever you already have a hard game? Make it fucking harder, and that's like the thing.
And then that was number 9. And number 10 is my first-person shooter on an N64, GoldenEye.
And tons of people love this game, so I'm glad you put it on there.
Screen watching motherfuckers. That's all that game ever included. Was just like you're always playing with 4 people, pretty much. And I mean, this isn't the multiplayer. But you are James Bond or whatever characters you can think. And there was so much screen watching. It would be the quad, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Yeah. And you'd be like trying to hide your screen while you're trying to kill them.
That was another game that you got together to play all the time. Any of those quad screen games, but that's one of the memorable ones. GoldenEye multiplayer.
To be fair, the most memorable thing about GoldenEye is that anyone who plays fucking Oddjob is a cunt.
Yeah, thank you.
We always nobody was allowed to play with my friends. Like if you played him, you literally just got punched the whole time you're playing.
Yeah, thank you.
Like fuck you for doing it.
But I love that game, and then I graduated up, and the next one was Perfect Dark 64.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one too.
Oh, good old Farsight gun. All right, so that's my top 10. I got quite a few honorable mentions. My first game, I'm pretty sure ever, was Pong for the Atari 2600.
Yeah, you're right. Like I forget about Atari. Like that's probably the first thing I played. Good old
Pitfall and all that bullshit.
E.T. Did you ever play E.T.? Fuck that game. Jesus. Fuck E.T.
I'm sorry, my eyes twitching just thinking about E.T.
Just falling in those pits all the time. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
We have the Max Mechanized Assault and Exploration. That was the step up from Dune 2, which I love. And I still play actually Max quite a bit, thanks to GOG Gaming. Halo Combat Evolved. Close Combat 2: A Bridge Too Far. That was a World War II sort of real-time strategy with like just World War II units using tanks, mortars, snipers, all that.
Pretty good.
I was a real big nerd. Won't lie. I played a MUD, a multi-user domain text-based RPG. So basically an MMO without pictures.
Sure.
Yeah, all
You're
text.
just typing in, you look in, you read. It's like, oh, there's a Smurf here. I'm like, kill Smurf. Backstab the Smurf. Things like that. Cast magic missile at Smurf until the Smurf dies, and then you skin his corpse and make slippers out of him and things like that. Halo 3 beta was actually where I met Sargram, and we've been gaming ever since, pretty much. And then EVE Online is another thing that has definitely defined me as a gamer.
Defined me in hating it, but that was it. That's all for me.
But yeah, that's pretty much my top 10 and honorable mentions.
Cool. Yeah, pretty good. That's one thing I was afraid of. I wasn't gonna have enough old school games, and then Tarnus gets in here and brings them all in.
I'm older than you. No.
Not by much though. What is it? A couple years?
I know.
Yeah, not too bad. All right. Well, Vigi, take us back into the 2000s, baby.
Oh boy.
Bring us back.
Your number
Oh,
one.
boy.
I absolutely love this game.
Dude, my number one was actually like, so whenever
We
you
talked
go-
about it recently, a couple of
Did
times
I?
actually.
I don't think I've ever talked about this game. I've talked about Zone of Enders a fuckload
Yeah.
recently, but this game I don't think I've ever talked about. Period. But it was the first game that came to my mind when I was like, "Fuck, games that defined me," and that's because this game is like one of the only games that I remember playing with my family. Like with my mom, I played this game, which is fucking weird as fuck if you know me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Legend of Dragoon was a game that was on PlayStation 1, and it legitimately had 4 fucking discs. I never
Yep.
finished the game because my 4th disc broke. Feels fucking bad, man. But no, like, that game was the first RPG I ever played. It's a turn-based RPG, sort of in the same vein as, like, Final Fantasy VII and shit like that. I actually played this game before playing Final Fantasy VII. I got that, like, as a gift later, which I'll get to that later. But anyway, Legend of Dragoon was, like, the first game I ever gave a shit about. It was like, man, I want to beat this game. I want to finish this game. When I got to the 3rd disc, I was like, oh my god, I'm actually going to finish a video game. When I got to that 4th disc, and then, like, it wouldn't turn on, it was like, oh, and then just, and then just not work. Anyway, pissed me off. Or whatever the fuck the original Sony
I like
sound
your
was. I don't remember.
soundtrack. Yeah, I like your sound effects.
What was the original
great.
Sony sound?
That was a
I
good
don't remember.
time. It was a good
Good
time.
times. Anyway, so just like it would do the sound and then just go, readable disc or disc not entered, and I was like, no, please don't do this to me.
You legit
Yeah.
sound like the last half of the GameCube, by the way.
It was.
sounds.
Yeah, that one was. I don't remember what the fuck the actual PlayStation 1. The first one was PlayStation 2. But anyway, because I played it on PlayStation 2. That's right. Whew. Anyway, so yeah, that 4th disc never played. I never finished the game. All I remember is there was a character in that game that died, and I actually gave a shit. That's how you know that game.
It was a
That's
good
rough.
game. Yeah.
Right in the feels, yeah. But in the same vein, the first action RPG that like I actually finished, or not action RPG, the first RPG that I actually finished was Final Fantasy VII. Oh my god! So to say that this game like defined me, quote unquote, is like sort of ridiculous. I played every single Final Fantasy VII game. Like, so there's Final Fantasy VII, and then there's like 13 other fucking side games that
Yeah.
like expand upon the story. And then there's 2 movies. One of them's in Japanese only. The other one's in American and Japanese. English
Wow.
and Japanese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've seen both of them like multiple times. I own it. I think it's in here. Fucking Final Fantasy VII, dude. That was my shit. Still is my shit. So since then, I've tried my best to play every Final Fantasy game, like every Final Fantasy game, including the Japanese ports that have come over.
Final Fantasy VII is one of those ones that I really like too. You have a lot of arguments about which one is the best. 6, 4, almost everyone.
8.
Yeah, almost everyone is like every number is mentioned at some point. And you're like, okay, sure. But
every
7 is
mentioned at some point. But 7's like the one that you almost see everywhere. Like that's the one that people sort of just know.
I think it's just because
they at least know the character.
Yeah.
And I think it's partially because of like games like Kingdom Hearts, where Sephiroth and Cloud are like both in that. Whereas I don't know. No, I think there's a couple other Final Fantasy characters in those games, but yeah, like those are pretty big deals in like other games, and like they've sort of leaked so much into other games, and like everyone's sort of trying to find a villain that you hate as much as you hated Sephiroth. Sure. So.
And then of course mentioning the other death that made you get those feels.
I don't give a fuck about Aerith.
Hey.
Fuck that bitch.
Rude.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like that shit was. I actually cried as a little boy. I was like, yeah, that was shit was rough. I remember grinding the fuck out of that game though. That was one of the first games that I was like, I need to grind. I can't beat this boss. I need to grind.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not my favorite style of game, but it is my favorite of the series for sure. But Grindy McGrinderson, that's not good.
That's me.
It's not a good
time.
Yeah,
I think
that is right up your alley. So that makes sense. Yeah.
That's sort of like defined me as the grindy type person though. Yeah. Like I still grind.
That's where it all started. So we just need to go back and take that game away from him, and then we'll be fine.
Just don't take it away from all of us. We'll
be good. No, just
however. After I finished playing Final Fantasy VII, the second game that I played, like Final Fantasy game that I played, was Final Fantasy Tactics.
Ooh.
Which, yeah. So, how do you define that game? Is it RTS technically? I guess.
Turn-based strategy, more.
Turn-based strategy with like more strategy, like.
Turn-based strategy, gone rogue.
But like, there was like a bunch of different elements to that game that. I had to think about it. Like as a kid, like it came out in '97. I sure as hell didn't play it at the age of 1. Sure as hell did not.
I was wondering about that.
Oh, you fucking.
No, it came out in '97. I don't think I played it until I was like 6 or 7. Yeah, it had to be 6 or 7 because my mom was there. So yeah, so I played that game when I was like 6 or 7. But it was like a game that I had to like actively think about. Because you have to like, oh, I can't be turned this way or else I'll get back damage. I can't be turned this way or else I'll get side damage. Oh no, I bet that Onion Knight's gonna destroy my asshole. Like stuff like that.
I'm sure those are quality things to think about as a 6 and 7 year old.
Yeah, my asshole's going to bleed.
Yeah,
the 6 or 7 year old thought.
That's good.
No, that was the first game that I was like, maybe I should be thinking harder about video games. Fun fact, you shouldn't. But yeah, so that was like the first game where I started to think, and then from there, I sort of started to move towards like, we got a computer. It was really shitty, but we had one, and there was this, like, what is it, Family Dollar? I think there was a Family Dollar that was like right in this shopping center near our house, and for some reason they had this bin, and all it had in it was like dollar PC games.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought this PC game called Seven Kingdoms 2.
Oh god.
I don't remember, like, I had to look this up, legitimately look this up as we were going through some of your other games. Sorry that I wasn't listening to you guys at all. But yeah, so Seven Kingdoms 2 was the first actual RTS I ever played. I have no idea how the fuck to play that game. All I remember is there was a way that you could just like spawn a bunch of units. It didn't cost anything. You can go negative money or some shit. I don't know if it was like a cheat code or something, like a console command or what it was. But you could just spawn infinite units. So all I would do, like as a kid, was just spawn as many units as possible and then just run down everyone. Classic RTS.
You're like, I know strategy.
This is strategy. Yeah, it's real.
Look what I can do.
Yeah, and then I think Pokemon Yellow was also in like 2 of your others, so I'm not gonna fucking talk about it. Everyone, if Pokemon's on your list, stop.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
There could be people that don't have Pokemon.
It just wasn't one of my defining games.
Pokemon Yellow is like a great game, but
Yes.
Pokemon Silver was my favorite Pokemon.
Oh.
Also, well, so they introduced shinies in Silver. I didn't know that they introduced them. Yeah, they introduced it in Silver and Gold, and it was like 1 in 2,196 chance.
Yep, I never saw one.
Yeah, I did. My first shiny out of any Pokemon game ever was in Silver, and it was a Larvitar.
Shiny Bidoof! Oh, sorry, what?
was a
fucking
Larvitar.
Bidoof. There's so many Bidoofs. I
Yeah.
hate Bidoofs.
I don't think Bidoof was in that generation.
It's not. It's not.
No, we just talk about Bidoof because he's everywhere.
Just Shiny Bidoof, man.
Yeah,
Everybody needs Shiny Bidoof.
Also,
Bidoof
his
is my
name
HMO.
sounds like a sexual act.
Bidoof!
Don't
Did you just?
I'm gonna Bidoof you
Yeah,
tonight.
did you just get Bidoofed last night? Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Oh my god, my boyfriend's so amazing. He Bidoofed me.
Alright, anyways.
The only one I can think of is, "Hey girl, you want a Squirtle while I peek at you?"
Oh god. There's
He's
there's
old.
Turnus.
God damn it, I hate all of you. The first sort of like roguelike game I ever played was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2,
Yeah.
which there was a cheat code. So like this was back in the day where you could buy cheat
I'm
codes.
hearing a lot of cheat codes here.
That's the only way Ian played games is if there was a cheat code.
No, I didn't. I actually played that one through with my mom all the way through, and then went back later and cheated the shit out of it.
Nice.
So I played it all the way through. My mom played like, I don't know, she played the sorcerer, I think, or the wizard, and then I played the barbarian. And he had a perk later in the game where he could wield two-handed weapons in both hands.
Yep.
And then you just destroy everything. I remember the entire layout to one of the dungeons in that game.
Because you had to
Still,
redo it so many times?
To this day. No, not even, because it creeped me out and gave me nightmares as a kid.
Oh, okay, got you.
Because there's like undead bodies, and her name was Latvia. She was like a vampire type bitch. I don't know. Shit was. As a kid, that shit gave me nightmares. It was good times though. And then since you have that highlighted, I guess you want to go there. I didn't want to go there next day.
No, you go where you want. I'm just trying to get ahead of it to copy it.
Nah, you good. The first game I ever played online was actually a game called Gunbound. I didn't see any like trailers or anything for it. I looked. I didn't see any that were like good. That game was fucking stupid. I remember my cousin came over. It was like Christmas. My cousin came over. He was like, "Hey, do you ever play online?" I'm like, "No. I'd get grounded if I did that. I wouldn't." But I told him that because I was worried that maybe I was doing something wrong. He was like, "You should play this game." So he showed me Gunbound, and I thought it was the hardest shit as a kid. I was like, "Man, how do they arc their bullets like that?" Because there's like wind, and then you have to like, there's slight physics to the game where your different shots had different weights, and you had to like arc them and turn them in such a way, and like,
Right.
shit was stupid. I remember if you could like, there was a character in it called Boomeranger, and if you could somehow do a boomerang, like you were a god, because that shit fired at such an awkward way. But like, you had to fire it in front of you to hit behind you. It was stupid.
I'm hoping this is the right version I'm about to throw up, but
Are there other versions?
I don't know. That's
Oh,
problem.
there's the one on the phone now. They've actually, so the game itself is not online anymore, like not live. But they made a phone version of it that's technically, it's Gunbound, but it's like, I don't know, it's the
This
new
looks like
live.
Worms.
Yeah, it's
was like-
same game type, Turnus. Same game.
It was Worms, but it had like wind to it, and the wind made it shit.
Well,
Also, there's a
in
lot-
this example, we see two guys sitting on top of each other, just shooting the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, that was also a thing. There's a character called like Grub that did that a lot. I don't know. It was, as a kid, that shit was hard. Hard AF.
Sure, yeah.
And then from there, you can go ahead and do that one that you copied, I guess.
Whatever,
The first
yeah.
MMO I ever played was called Legend of Ares. That was the first
Hey.
like World of Warcraft type, like you have skill bars type MMO that I ever played, and that shit was dumb. That
Look
was
at the
real bad.
amount of pixels on this is great.
That was a real bad game.
There's a total of 4 pixels.
No,
That's
it was
good.
really bad. It was not good.
Oh my god!
Mm,
I don't.
anyway.
If anybody can even tell what's happening with this video quality,
I think I just got eye cancer watching this.
Yeah. Like
All
the
right,
capes
well, good
were
game.
like these solid sheets of metal, basically. It's really
Jesus.
good. The only way you could get capes was by being in like guilds and doing guild rank type stuff. It was stupid. I never really got that far into it.
But it
because
was influential for you, huh?
it was influential because it was the first MMO that I played. You know,
I
it was the
got you,
first
yeah.
game that I was like, this has a skill bars, and like I started to learn how to do skill bars, and then from there, like my cousin again came over. He's like, why the hell don't you just play WoW? It's so much better. I was like, because that costs money.
You're
He's
like,
like-
what does that mean? Yeah.
And then my dad was like, I'll pay for a month for you. And I was like, okay. And my dad ended up paying for like 3 years for me.
Yeah.
Good times.
He totally forgot about the subscribe.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Just left the card in there.
Yeah. And then eventually it expired. And I was like, I guess I'm not playing WoW anymore.
I'm all done.
But yeah, then Jiggler already talked about it, but MapleStory also was one of those first like MMO type games that I played. It was the first 2D MMO that I played.
Good old Maple Story. It's like
Fucking
y'all
MapleStory.
play that stuff all the time. Still.
I still do. We don't need to talk about it though. They
Who-
changed it so much.
Who doesn't love the chibi style dudes? What is this?
That's like the first trailer.
Original
video.
trailer? Oh my
Oh
god.
man, wow,
Yeah.
that's old school.
That's the classico.
Good
When
good searching. Good searching for that one.
I just googled MapleStory trailer, and that was the first thing.
And you're like, this is legit. This is
I was
fun.
like, I've seen this before. I think this is it. Yeah. There's not much else to say about that we haven't already said.
Sure.
MapleStory. But from there, like, so on the sidebars of any website that you went for MapleStory, there was always this advertisement, and it said, "Tired of fighting mushrooms and slimes?" And then it was this game. Well, it was this and like some other fighter game, but it was like this game.
I
It was
love
called.
fighting mushrooms and slimes.
Same.
But yeah, no, fuck that. So basically, they were getting at, don't play MapleStory, play a real game, and it was Grand Chase. Oh my god! I remember I talked to Jiggly into playing this game one time. One time, he was like, "We should play something," and I was like, "Well, I don't have MapleStory downloaded right now." He goes, "Well, what do you have What do you have downloaded?" I was like, "I have Grand Chase downloaded." He downloaded it. We played it for like 10 minutes before he said, "Fuck this shit."
It was a mistake. It was a mistake.
It looks,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all anime. It looks pretty badass, but I'm guessing the
Well-
gameplay is not very good.
The gameplay was the gameplay was 2D platformer.
Hmm.
And it was based on like a combat sort of fighting combo system. So you had two keys. It was Z, X, and then like arrow keys.
For movement, basically.
Yeah, so I don't even think X was useful for anything in the original game. But yeah, so Z, and then like if you held up while pressing Z, then sometimes it'd do like up attack, and you'd like combo people, like chain them with air attacks and sort of all sorts of shit. Good old times.
Oh, yeah, it does look very similar to MapleStory in the fact that it's
2D.
2D,
platformer.
side-scrolling, yeah.
Yeah, but the whole like I remember every time I saw the ad, it was always like, "You don't want to fight mushrooms, do you?" And then it was like, "Look at these monsters," and it would show like Kazays shooting a giant laser, and I was like, "Oh man, that was badass! I want to play that."
You're like,
And then I
yeah.
did, and then I played that game for so fucking long, and then they fucking got rid of it. That game does not exist anymore because it got turned into Elsword, basically. So
Gotcha. Yeah, and I've been on that one. I've seen that one.
Elsword, you've been on
Yeah.
Elsword?
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I
I've also
mean,
been on Elsword.
yeah, it's
I
one of
talked
those
John
ones.
into playing
Oh
Elsword.
God, This-
It didn't last very long.
there's many mistakes that have happened, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of I don't regret any of them though. Well, I regret Legend of Berries.
Okay, okay. The
Okay,
one
everything
with
about
4
that game.
pixels. The one with 4. The
Oh, that's
3D
for Steam.
game.
That's
with
for
4
Steam God's logo.
pixels. That's right.
Where is?
It's
That,
above
on
the
that
head of the
video,
character.
he had the Steam logo on there.
Oh yeah. Sure. why not?
Cool. Is that your list, or did you hit? Did
I
we
think
miss
that's
something?
probably my list because like, yeah.
Cool.
You're all pretty young.
Yeah, I know. Like a lot, I noticed quite a difference. So we've got a lot of pixelated graphics on ours, and then we got like this new age shit.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
whatever.
I
Half my shit was your shit.
know. I got you. Well,
I
cool.
like how Legend of Dragoon. It's 2 years newer, I guess. Never mind. I was about to say Legend of Dragoon looked way better than Final Fantasy VII, but yeah, that makes sense. 2 years.
It's a little
Makes
bit newer, yeah. And the technology back then was going so fast, you know, for
Yeah.
graphics
When
and
did
everything else.
8 come out?
Dude, I remember as a kid, so there was like the PlayStation demo disc, and I remember like Tomb Raider was on it. And
With
just
the
as a kid
triangle
going,
titties?
Pixelated movies.
I was like, those cubicle titties.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VIII came out in 99 as well.
Yeah.
So 2 years after 7. Unlike the latest, unlike this remake, it's been like, 3 years since we heard anything. It's fine.
You know, it got taken back like Old Yeller. It had to have been.
They just killed it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. How it goes.
Usually Square Enix says something about it. They
Cool.
might have been talked about in a Japanese conference, to be fair, before it came to like an American conference.
Well, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of get everybody's like games and just kind of list them off and talk about them a little bit. So thanks guys for doing that. It was eye opening for some of you, like Ian's
me.
weird ass shit. No wonder.
What?
No wonder.
My shit's not weird. You said fucking childhood shit. That's not shit I play
No, I
anymore.
got you. Yeah.
No, I plays PoE and Warframe.
And that's all you play.
That's it. That's all he does.
Hey man,
That's it. You
I
like
play Minecraft. I play Pokemon Minecraft.
Pokemon Minecraft coming up soon, guys. To get on the webpage, hashtag casual gaming. Put me on fucking Pokemon, please. Thank you.
Hashtag.
All right, and I think that's gonna be it for us, right? We all good?
We had some news.
Oh, do we want to talk about the Microsoft getting sued? Real quick.
By Bethesda.
Yeah.
So they came out with Westworld game. Was it Microsoft that came out?
I don't know what the fuck it was.
I thought it was Warner.
It was
Brothers.
a Westworld game, yeah.
Was
Was
it
it
Warner Brothers that came out with it?
Yeah.
They
it's
were
Warner
no,
Brothers.
it's not Bethesda.
Bethesda. How can you not say that?
They were
he's not
going
used
after
to saying.
Microsoft. They're going after Warner Brothers, not
Yeah,
Microsoft.
it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah. It's Warner Brothers. Still Westworld.
Yeah, and then basically, I mean, they're going over it because there's literal pieces of code from
No.
Fallout,
Not
right?
pieces.
Like whole parts of the game are copied, right?
It was almost like a copy paste of the source code,
Jesus.
and they even proved it with like, oh yeah, by the way, we just patched this, and it was a problem that this game has as a bug.
Gotcha. I see
So
what
it's
you're
just
saying.
like, hey, by the way, we just patched this, and it's still a problem in that game.
What's
Thus-
funny is the game's not even released yet. It's what is it, a pre-reg game?
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, it's
So-
not even full access yet.
Yeah.
I mean, moral of the story is don't copy paste someone's game and just put new sprites over the top
it
of it.
wasn't just that. I think their main
Well, the
developer.
sprites are different.
I'm pretty sure the main developer was part of the Fallout shelter.
Yeah. Behavior is who. Like, Bethesda hired Behavior in 2014 to work on Fallout Shelter, and then they also are, like, the main people who are making the Warner Brothers.
The
Westworld
Westworld
game.
one. Gotcha.
So, like, the suit isn't necessarily Warner Brothers, it's Warner Brothers and Behavior that they're suing. Because, like, Behavior has stolen source code, and then also they're saying that they stole, like, art, sort of, intellectual property,
Mhm.
because the art style is very similar. But
Yeah, I don't know. That's rough. Don't steal. That's all I
Yeah.
can tell you. Don't steal.
Don't
Cool.
get caught. It's the main moral of the story.
Don't get caught. I like Tarnus. Tarnus is a little more chaotic in nature, but we're okay with that. Cool. Well, hey, so we're gonna come back. It's gonna be 2 weeks again. Try to get a topic for us to do. I have some other ideas we may do. We may talk about some games too, because there are a couple of games that are coming out in the next couple of weeks we may want to talk about. But we may do another themed podcast or whatever, in 2 more weeks. So for everybody who came by, thanks for stopping by. You guys, thanks
We have
for hanging
who's
out.
picking the streamer spotlight.
Yeah, we want to talk about a streamer. And anybody got anybody in mind? Tarnus, you got
I
anybody?
didn't pick one out yet.
Well, I can do.
I got a friend Let me just link him really quick.
Yeah, just throw him out, and then that way.
This guy right here. He went out to LA and started working with H3 Productions and Rooster Teeth and all that. But he's a decent streamer. He has a lot of fun with VR. Right now, he's actually streaming right now. He's doing the Jackbox party.
So you can go check him out right now. Go follow him if you feel like, you know.
Yep. And yeah, he runs a decent game. I love a lot of. He does a lot of party games or multiplayer where he gets the audience drawn
involved
into the game.
Yeah, got you. I got you. That's cool. All right, well, go check him out. He's streaming now. We're going offline. Jiggly, you streaming later?
Are we playing?
Yeah, I'll probably play something. Neverwinter or Realm.
Then I might stream. Oh no, I won't be streaming because I'll be prepping food while playing. So no.
Gotcha. And I am gonna probably do an off stream tomorrow because don't normally stream on Wednesdays. Not too exciting, but I'm gonna be painting my D&D mini for Saturday, so I think I might just stream it for the heck of it.
Oh, speaking of D&D, was it this weekend was my 1 year anniversary of running Undermountain.
Yeah,
I think
boy.
I've run it over 24 different times, killed so many players. Love it.
I remember you announcing that the other day, so. All right, cool. Well, hey, until we'll see you guys in another couple weeks. Otherwise, you come check out me, Jiggly Tarnus. We stream off and on throughout the week, so just come check us out whenever you got time. And,
sometimes I show up in their streams.
Yeah, you'll hear Ian in the background saying "fuck you," or whatever he does over there. And
I go to David's desk.
We'll see you in
Thanks for inviting me to the stream, Papa.
2 weeks. No, will you stop? We'll see you in 2 weeks for the next podcast. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for hanging out.
Later.